Hello, welcome. I'm Craig Fulton with Evergreen. I'm an advisor here, and my job is to make sure you get the most value out of your business. And I'm excited to be joined by Martin. Martin, who are you?
I'm Martin, based in Vancouver, BC, Canada, and I'm the CEO of Nucleus Networks.
Hey, thanks for joining. So, look,
Thanks for
the
having me.
reason I had you here is you recently have joined in the Evergreen team, and we've talked a lot in our videos about how Evergreen does business. You know, we preserve the brand, the team, the culture. And I want to get your perspective on that. So let's just jump right in. Tell me, how long have you been with Evergreen?
So officially 2 years. Two
Okay.
years as of I think July 31st, August 1st. So not too long ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
But enough time to know like what it's like, right? So it's not
definitely.
like, oh, it's still in the first 6 months, like it's gonna
Totally.
change. Like you can attest that, this is what's happening. So what was it like going through the deal process? What were you told? What did you expect was going to happen once, you made the sale happen?
Yeah, a lot of what you just said, at the get-go there, around being able to have autonomy, being able to retain our brand, nothing's drastically changing overnight.
Right.
Obviously, going through the process, that was really important to us. Before we started talking to Evergreen, we had a lot of other companies kind of knock on our door, and they were,
Yeah.
pitching this vision and dream, but a lot of it involved, amalgamation, consolidation, centralized services, and that didn't sound great to us. And so, the story that Evergreen presented early on, aligned with our long-term vision and what we wanted for our company, for our brand that we built. And yeah, I mean, it was a bit surreal because it's 2 years later, and we're
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I guess that was all true. Like what they told us in terms of, hey, you can still maintain your brand, still do
Yeah.
what you do, and that was the reality.
No,
It wasn't a bait and switch, if you will. So
yeah. I know. And I love that because, I've got 16 years in the MSP space, 14 before that, just working tech. But
so just to rewind it a little bit, but we were founded in 2001. And
okay.
so we've been in business for a long time. However, we didn't really, it was kind of just an opportunistic referral type business that grew
Right.
relatively slow organically. And I joined in 2013, to really help grow the business. And so at the
Okay.
time, we were about 12 people doing just under 2 million in revenue in 2013. And this fiscal, we're approximately 85 people and should do close to 20 million revenue. So, hyper growth in the last, 10
Yeah.
years. It's been year over year, consistent
Yeah.
growth.
Well, congratulations on that. I love
Thank you.
hearing those success stories. And importantly, though, been in business a long time, well-established brand, have people that have helped you get there. And how important was it for you to preserve all of that?
It was critical, to be honest with you. I think like I said, we weren't necessarily at the time looking to sell, but the reality is, I think the timing overall with, shareholders and, the world in terms of the pandemic and what was going on at the time. But, like I said, we did talk to other people, a year before we talked to Evergreen, and a lot of the story was around integration and, joining the mothership and trying to, hey, we're going to push the brand down now onto the Nucleus, and you're going to lose some of your
Yeah.
identity, your culture. And for us, like, our team is probably one of the most important things for us.
Yeah.
Our average tenure at Nucleus is almost 5 years, of a
Wow.
company that's 85 people. So, we didn't want to sell to somebody and then lose our identity, and the shareholders just kind of like celebrate, and everybody's like, oh great, now we're a part of this big company. And so that was really important to us, being able to preserve the integrity of our culture and our brand,
Okay.
but being a part of something special too. That
Yeah.
was also an important part.
Yeah. And I love culture. We spend most of our time doing this, right? Our waking time. So it's important that, it's enjoyable and you feel like you're
Totally.
a part of something and it's defined. So let's talk about the culture at Nucleus before and after, wherever you want to jump in. How, how did you define that? How would you define it? what did the people think? Like, what was the vibe like?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I mean, I think ultimately, when I'm just going back in my memories of like being a company of 12 people, kind of startup mentality, we're
Yeah,
all working together. We're all super passionate. We care about our clients. We want to be the best at what we do. And really, I think that work hard, play hard mentality, that was definitely, if I think back to, that period, it was really like work hard, but celebrate.
yeah,
Beer clocks, meet up after work, social lunches, everybody's eating lunch in the lunchroom together, like small,
right,
small team, right? And so as we grew and scaled, like obviously everybody can't fit in the lunchroom together anymore. And so how do we preserve that feeling of such a small team, like a sports team, if you will, right?
right.
Just
Yeah,
that camaraderie and that team mentality. And at the core of it was really trying to define our core values. Like, why do what are we all about? What's our culture all about? What do we look for when we hire people? What can we
right.
tell our clients what to expect? What is the mission we're on together as a team? Where are we going, at the end of the day?
Yeah,
And what's our core purpose? Like, why are we getting out of bed in the morning? Why are we showing up to work? Like, what are we doing at the core of Nucleus? And really, what we've done is really define those elements, build that into onboarding of new hires, build that into everything that we do. So everybody feels like they're a part of this something special, right? Like a giant sports team, I guess is the best way to
yeah.
look at it,
Yeah, if you read a lot on LinkedIn, I do, and I see a lot of articles. And recently, a lot of people have started to define like, hey, you can't say that your workplace is a family. It's think of it as more of a high performing sports team. So I love that you
Yes,
said that because that's a theme I've been seeing lately about culture out there.
totally.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think that family thing kind of
Gets
took a little
awkward.
bit of a hit during the pandemic and
Yeah.
what people
Well,
thought. And
yeah, I
uh,
mean, it's definitely like you're good friends with people, and like they are like technically like an extended family. But
right,
I think the end of the day, the sports team's a better analogy, right? You have
right,
goals, different roles, different players,
yeah,
and you have certain goals that kind of reset every month, and you gotta win the game, right? Win the week. So
yeah. Okay, so we've established, I get it, Nucleus, its culture, love it. It sounds like a place I would love to be. Um, you're going into this, I'll call it a transaction, selling the business to Evergreen. You're hearing these things. When you made the announcement to the team, what was the reaction? Was there concern? Like, oh no, this is going to
oh
change.
yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah. I mean, we the nice thing about Evergreen is they really set us up for success in the sense of a playbook in terms of like, because we've, done this so many times, here's the things we've encountered in the past, here's what we've learned along the way. So it was nice to
right.
have those, transparent items of like, here's what to consider, here's some communication templates, here's what's worked, here's what doesn't work.
Yeah,
And each company is different, right? Each brand was different.
yeah,
And for us, yeah, there was a few things that people were concerned about, or like, sure, nothing's gonna change, like right, that was kind of the feeling. So um and even myself a little bit, I was a shareholder as well, and
yeah,
there's two shareholders that left, two shareholders that stayed on as employees still. And there's a bit of like, okay, well, sounds a little bit too good to be true, like when are the changes
right,
coming, then
right,
3 months later, 6 months later, here we are 2 years later.
right.
So there was definitely some concerns of the team just around, I'll believe it when I see it kind of thing. Right.
Yeah.
So
And since then, you've been able to invest fully empowered as you feel to preserve that culture and keep it going. How are people doing now?
really good. Yeah, actually, we not only are having a great year, from a financial performance standpoint, our ENPS is the highest it's been in a couple of years. So,
Yeah,
we're big on doing engagement surveys and tracking ENPS, and we've been tracking it for the last since we did the transaction actually. And we just finished one. I think it was 2 months ago, maybe even a month ago, and it's the highest it's been in 3 years. So,
yeah, amazing.
we without, I mean, a lot of work and a lot of effort, and we're
Right.
really big on culture building and trying to put a lot of energy towards our team. And
Yeah,
but the reality is it's not like, post transaction, the EMPS just tanked. It was actually, if anything, it ticked up. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, and look, and I understand fully that this stuff doesn't just accidentally happen. It takes a great leader like you to say, all right, you got to put work into culture. I think a lot of people think that they can kind of just define it and let it go. But I say, no, this is like a relationship. You have to work
100%,
on it, right? Or it'll
100%.
drift and become something you don't want it to be. So I love to hear these things. Love the passion you have for it. I think it defines the essence of what Evergreen loves about small business and why we do things the way we do. We want to preserve that. And I have to imagine then, and we'll sort of start to cap this conversation off. When you have a culture like that, it's very present and visible to the customer, right? Like, is your customer almost partake in the way you do culture there?
Yeah, I mean, we're super transparent. Like on our sales pitch, we spend a lot of time talking about our culture, who we are as an organization,
Yeah,
like our everything from our vision to our mission to our core values to our core purpose as a company to our brand promise. Like we really are big on, at the end of the day, if you work with us as a customer, we promise to deliver X, right? And I've
yeah,
seen, the best example of that is Disney. Their brand promise is happiness,
right.
which makes a ton of sense, right? You think of Disney, happiness. For us, it was supercharged. We landed on this
Yeah,
term. We're going to help our clients get the most of their technology investment. We want to be that partner that they work with long term. And so it's a part of the initial sales pitch with new clients. It's a part of onboarding for new hires that come to Nucleus. They get to know, we actually print out little, actually have them right here. I don't know if you can see them, but
yeah,
they're little core
yeah.
value
Little
cards.
cards.
So, we print out our core values, they're
Yeah,
double-sided, they're in a swag box that, a new hire gets. So they really,
yeah,
culture is front and center, not only with
yeah,
new hires, but, new clients that join the organization as well. Because I do think working with people like doing business with people they like and trust at the end of the day, right? And I think
yeah,
if a client can match their culture with ours and say, hey, you know what, that you guys are like us, right? You're similar to
yeah,
to our business. We've won a lot of business simply because it's a personality fit, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah, I know myself as a consumer of things on this planet. I do drift towards companies that, I look at their culture, and I know for small businesses looking for an IT service provider, they want to align because you guys are going to be like this, right? That
exactly.
it's what you're doing that's enabling them to grow, to compete, to sustain their business, build resiliency. So I love it. I love hearing when culture is a part of the experience for the customer. I want to thank you for joining today. Do you have any
Yeah.
last words for the audience? Anything at all? Let it rip.
Anything at all. Oh, you're putting me in the spot now. No,
Some
I mean,
some
I
some
I
advice through the
I think
transaction
I think you hit the
guidance.
nail on the head about some people are like set and forget with culture.
Yeah,
You go through this exercise of defining maybe your core values, whether it's through EOS or some, operating system that helps you define these things as a framework.
right.
But they're living and breathing things that you need to care and feed every single day, every single week. I have a standing weekly people culture meeting every single week. I put effort and energy towards, people culture. Sometimes they're bigger, longer term initiatives. Sometimes there's things that, hey, we want to plan a social event in this month. Okay, what are we going to do? Like,
Right.
it has to be top of mind. It can't just be grow, 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 grow. The reality is we're all people, right? We're not all bots. It's not all AI. There's humans behind the screen.
Right.
And I think the reality is if you treat your people right, they're going to treat your customers right. And that's
Um,
that's what it all boils down to.
Love it. All right, those of you tuned in, you heard it here straight from Martin. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Craig.
Yeah.